Good morning, Softball America. Happy Tuesday, May 20th. It is the Tuesday post-regionals, the Tuesday before Supers, and we are back. Gray Robertson and Tara Henry. We have lived interesting, fascinating lives since the last time we met you. We were in Nashville merely, less than a week ago. We were discussing the bracket, and now we're going to be discussing the second round. 64 has gone down to 16. Tara, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Let us know where you're tuning in from. What a week. What a weekend. Yes, we were live in Nashville just a week ago. Then Gray went back to Tuscaloosa. I went up to Bristol. We had a lot of softball, a lot of very fun softball, and some upsets as well. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Yes, the glasses are back. There a couple things with the glasses. Hair and makeup was difficult with the glasses. The reflection, also like the lighting, but they are back for each and every one of you.
And my contacts are in. Let's see what the chat has to say today. Good morning from my burner, Grant Gray. Marcus says good morning as well. A lot of conversation already. I'm just flashing the good mornings, but we'll try and get to everything that's being discussed because, man, y'all are. I do have thoughts on the portal being open as well. Dr. Zayas, ATL, great morning. Love the vibe, sir. Roach, Tara, and Gray. Mark, here we go. Yay, the glasses are back. All is right in the world. Michael, Tara, you did a great job on ESPN this weekend. I want to discuss that in a bit. Let's see who else we got. We got Lonnie. Let's go, Boomer. Fang is up in here. Good morning, Tara and Gray. We got Mark saying Woodlands. That's where he is. Love the Woodlands, Texas. Brandon is Team Glasses. So, yeah, lots to dive into. Tara, before we go and talk about the biggest stories of regionals, all the upsets, some of the teams that came out, some of the most epic games we've seen in years, give us the play-by-play of your experience up with 7 Innings Live. And just a little background here, folks. This was being set up while we were live last week. Like, Tara was receiving the texts as we were on the show, talking to like Fico and Kat Rodriguez. Like, I think that was kind of about where it started.
Yeah, actually, that is exactly how it happened. So we were in the middle of the show, and yeah, they'd asked me to come up there and be part of 7 Innings Live, and just what an incredible experience. Just so the fans know, there's like obviously a lot going on, and there's certain games up, and obviously talk about what's on the screen, and it's cool because it's basically the control center for all the networks as well. So if something goes short or goes long on E2 or E1 or EU, yes, Gray, is that a raising hand?
It is. I'm just asking. So this meant you watch softball all weekend?
Yeah. You did watch that. But the cool part is, you guys, like, you just see what's on, obviously, the 7 Innings Live, but we've got all these monitors, like on the left-hand side, monitors in the middle. We can have double games up. So if there's a game that's a little bit farther away from me, I can have it closer on my side, so that make sure I've got eyes on that game as well. So just a lot of jumping around. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot to cover, 64 teams, but the real goal was to try and highlight some of the teams that we don't get to see as much. And I think we did a really good job of that. Obviously, it was jumping around, and we're hearing, from various sites all over, all 16 sites. So it was cool to hear the play-by-plays, and they're in your ear, and just had a great time with Tori and Chris and Matt. And I just can't say enough about the crew. There's so many people that you all don't see that do so much behind the scenes, hair and makeup and lighting, and everything from production to directing to making sure that, the makeup comes in. I've never had so much makeup on in my life. But incredible that there's just so many people behind the scenes that you all don't see, and I just was so appreciative, and hopefully did you all some justice, and honored our game as best as possible. But it was just an incredible experience, and I've seen some comments in there, and there's some stuff that it's hard to explain as to why we go to certain games and don't go to certain games, but hopefully you enjoyed it, and always looking for feedback and let us know how we can be better. But want to thank Meg and Nick and the rest of the team up there for just welcoming me with open arms. Long days. Makeup was at 9:30.
Long days.
Yeah, makeup at 9:30. I didn't walk out of there till midnight. But all great stuff, and why not? Our sport is just continuing to grow, and had a really great time. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No, give us the long-winded version. I liked it. And to some of the questions, I will say sometimes also the answer is even more complicated than the complicated part. Like you're doing so many different things, and not only is it designed for ESPN Plus, but you're also operating as the studio for the linear games, and that is kind of a whole hot. Like you truly are running in a way like 17 shows at once. If things go wrong because of delays or whatever.
Absolutely. And I think that's the part that maybe the casual fan doesn't kind of understand, and be in my ear that we're going from one network to the next and making sure that everything is running smoothly. But like you said, Gray, it's basically the control center for everything. And just I had a blast. Tori is so much fun. We just had a great time talking softball, and Chris was an incredible captain. And then we had Matt come in, and he's just running into some craziness, and me and Tori, and it was fun. But yeah, let's talk some softball.
Okay, which regional do you want to start with? You watched them all. You talked about all of them. Let's shoot. I'm going to give you free reign.
Well, why don't we just start? Well, do you want to start with number one?
Yeah, we probably should. The history piece. I gotta say, there are a couple teams who did not have great regionals who are like, thank you, Texas A&M, you're taking the heat off of us. Because we will talk about some other squads who did not show up in the way that we expected this past weekend, but nobody's talking about them now because Texas A&M, the number one overall seed, goes down in a regional. The first time that has happened in the super regional era, they'd only not gotten to Sunday undefeated once a number one overall seed in the super regional era, as Liberty goes in and wins in College Station. The Sunday games were what this sport is all about. When we say mayhem, we need to have a picture of the 2 Sunday games up on the screen. And breaking it down with Nicole after she called me while she was on the way home, there were just so many things to talk about. I have never seen a pair of games like that where it felt like truly everything happened all at once.
Yeah, and just before I answer that, Gray, I think I've got a guess for us. So let me just send her the link right now. All right. Sorry, you guys. We were just managing some guests here, so just want to get that out to her. But yes.
Hold on. This reaction was genuine. Just like when Maya Johnson walked into the studio, I did not know we had a guest today. I thought we were. So here we go. I'm ready. Bring him in.
Surprise. Yes. So Liberty. I mean, we knew between Escobar and Bachman, we knew that was probably a 1-2 punch there, but was maybe expecting to see Yoder, and she just came in and delivered. And I think for many, that is so important in knowing that those innings were so important in the pre-conference play, in conference play. She had enough to have that experience, and that's why you can't ride your 1 and 2 all season long. You got to make sure that you've got a closer. You've got to make sure you have a lefty specialist. And I thought that Liberty really managed their pitching staff very well. I thought they had a clear plan against Emily Kennedy. To be honest, I was surprised that they brought Kennedy back in game 2, well knowing how much they had lit her up. And it was interesting because after that first win, I had this gut feeling. I said, Liberty's going to win this thing. Like, they were unafraid. When you've got Bryn McManus getting it done, obviously Rachel Roop is who we always talk about, but even Savannah Woodard against Marist, they had set all kinds of records, Gray, against Marist, regional records. With that first win against Marist, and then the win over Texas A&M. I thought to myself, I think Dot's going to get this squad through this thing. I was so impressed. They looked unafraid. They were attacking pitches. They had a plan. There was a clear game plan, and every time Texas A&M punched, Liberty punched back, and vice versa. So yeah, here's your surprise guest, Grace.
Oh my gosh! Shut up! No, okay. Should we just go straight to her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay. Let me introduce our friend, one of our, this is awesome. Okay, one of the legends of the game, the Olympian, the All-American, ESPN analyst, frequent guest on the Out of the Box podcast and many, many softball programs. She's a wonderful friend and a great, great person to talk about this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Michelle Smith.
Hi. It's great to see you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
We're just doing our thing. This is so fun. It's good to see you.
It's great to see y'all.
Surprise! Oh my gosh, Michelle's the best. Gray didn't know that it was you. He was like, this is honest reaction when your name popped up. But yeah, we were just talking about the Texas A&M College Station Regional, but we'll go to your regional because you were there. You were in Lubbock with Beth Mowens and Jessica Mendoza and Holly Rowe. First and foremost, what was your impression? Is that your first time in Lubbock? Have you been to Lubbock before?
I was honored for that to be my first time in Lubbock. And it reminded me a lot of one of our world championships up in Saskatchewan, Canada, where a farmer one time told me that it's so flat you can see your dog run away for 2 days. So, and so it was a very flat part of Texas that I had never been to before, and I can check that off on my list of places I have not been.
Oh man, did you find any like spots to go to, restaurants, places for a beverage or two? Where'd y'all go?
It was literally the field and then the hotel, and the field and the hotel, and that's it. When you you know how it is, regionals, it's 2 games, 3 games, and then 1 or 2 games, and usually running to the airport. So I apologize if you can hear the pups in the background barking. But we had a great time. The people super hospitable. I mean, they were so excited. A lot of energy around that program, rightfully so. So it was awesome to be there.
And obviously a lot of energy with Nigeri Kennedy coming in and really putting Texas Tech on the map, winning the Big 12 tournament, and then winning the regional. In speaking with Jerry, what do you think, what is the overall vibe with this team in speaking to head coach Jerry Glasso?
A lot of excitement, a lot of newness, a lot of firsts. They've got a lot of energy around the university as well, with everything that Patrick Mahomes has been doing for the university and a lot of the other alum. You really can't beat that. And then from a softball standpoint, anytime you have an ace pitcher like Nyjah, a Jordy, a Carlin, anytime a Tegan, any of those programs that have that one ace and then a good supplemental staff, which I have to say are all lefties, go girls, you have the ability to compete immediately, right? And then, of course, Jerry does a wonderful job of creating an offense that's going to create chaos. That's kind of always what he has had. They had a little bit of that, obviously, at Georgia. He produced a lot of that at Louisiana when he was there, and he has that now. I think they're at like 104 stolen bases at 134 tries. So even though they've been unsuccessful at times, he's not afraid to run. He did send one runner to home plate that I think he kind of regretted. They were out, quite a bit. I can't remember if that was it must have been maybe the first Mississippi State game, but he just does a great job. He has hitters that hit to their strength. He doesn't try to change them too much and make them something that they are. So they're just a really good ball club with two really good freshmen on the left side of the infield, which was a lot of fun to watch as well. Tony at shortstop was exciting. I really enjoyed watching her.
I have to ask Michelle because, in Tuscaloosa, we were stuck in a 3.5 hour rain delay. So we were just absolutely glued to the games that we watched unfold on Sunday. And we spent a lot of time big screening Texas Tech, Mississippi State. What was the biggest surprise to you about how that matchup played out? I mean, I don't think any of us saw a 9-6 final score.
No, for sure. I think the way that Mississippi State has really rebounded and hit Nyjah better and better and better every game that they faced her. So, she only had to throw 5 innings in the first game before they ended up winning that 10-1. I think, though, that this is a Mississippi State team that was offensively, with Sacco leading off, was very, very sound. I do think the question mark, though, for the championship game, as well as now running into super regionals, is Nyjah's condition, the blister on her finger. How bad is it? I didn't see it taped. A lot of times as pitchers, when we have really bad blisters either in our nail bed or finger, it's usually taped or there's something on that. I didn't see that. Not that we could really zoom in and see that. I think our camera folks tried to do that. So to me, that was probably the biggest takeaway, that I was impressed with the way there was some rebound and that she didn't come out and just dominate, which I probably thought maybe she would have.
And obviously you're at the Lubbock Regional, but there were some big monumental things that have never happened before in our sport. And what were you more surprised on? LSU not making it to the regional finals, getting beat by Southeastern Louisiana, or Texas A&M dropping the number 1 seed, not getting out of the regional and getting upset by Liberty?
So, Tara, it's interesting because I feel like every year I've got a pretty good pulse on what is kind of happening within the game. And I'm like, I could probably get 7 of the 8 that I think will be in Oklahoma City. And I flat out said it early this year. I said, I feel confident I could get 4. I felt confident I could get 4 teams that would punch their tickets to Oklahoma City, and only because of the amount of parity, the amount of depth that we see at some of the mid-majors, just the way the game has evolved, in my opinion as well. We've become so offensive oriented, and unfortunately the strike zone, in my opinion, is too small. So we've gone from being too pitcher dominant to now too hitter dominant. We've got good pitchers that can't get a third out of the inning. That, the walks are up over 30% this year. When I really, dug in halfway through the season to find out some information. So back to your original question, I'm really surprised that LSU didn't make it to the championship day. Not that I thought they were going to punch their ticket through there, because I think they had a really tough draw, a really tough seed. I feel like they didn't recover from the blow of not hosting a top 8, not getting a top 8. Their RPI was a 4.5, I think it was, when Selection Sunday came around. And that was one of the questions I asked specifically to the committee, was about LSU and UCLA, about where they were seated. UCLA, even though they're going on the road, I feel like they still have a decent path that's attainable, it's doable. LSU, I thought, was just handed a tough one, not being able to host a super if they were to hold chalk. And then, of course, Jordy coming to town. So, to your question, that was my biggest surprise, them not playing Nebraska for the championship. Liberty, the Fighting Dot Richardsons are always, they're always good.
They're always 5 wins away from OKC. That's it,
Yeah. Do now.
Hey, she was my Olympic teammate for many years, and I actually competed against her for many years. She is the ultimate professional of someone that will put it out in the universe, will use their faith to make reality, to make their dreams a reality. I mean, and she used to talk about it all the time, how she had this dream and she ran up the middle and dove and did a somersault and got up and threw the runaround at first. And then she did it in a game one day and she's like, I just lived my dream. We heard her say that over and over and over. And she's just, I mean, it doesn't matter if she's your teammate or your head coach, she is going to inspire you. She's just faithful in that way, obviously religiously, as well as in her belief of your mentality and just saying stuff and making it come true. So I wasn't. I wasn't surprised they played well. I was probably more surprised that Texas A&M was not able to figure out something both in the pitcher's circle as well as offensively to counteract what Liberty was doing.
Yeah, and I want to also talk about the super regional that you're going to. I'm a little worried I'm about to sneeze, so I apologize. I can feel it happening.
I'll bless you if you do, so don't worry.
So I'll get it out quickly. You're going to Knoxville. You got Jordy versus Carlin Pickens. Is this, as a pitcher yourself, it's gone away, I'm good. Is this, as a pitcher yourself, the super that of your dreams right now?
Yeah, I mean, from a Jordy, from being a hitting pitcher, being able to see her now be free on both sides of the ball is going to be really fun, really exciting. And then Pickens, with everything that she brings to the game with her velo, ironically too, this is another matchup of their first games of the year, just like Mississippi State and Texas Tech was at our regional. So. You can't go back and look at what happened back in Clearwater. I was actually at that game and saw kind of the fireworks break loose later, mid-late game. I think that it's going to come down. I always say this, whether or not it's Super Regionals, World Series, it comes down to execution. Who can throw that really good 3-2 pitch? Who's going to hit wrist? Who's going to hit with runners on? Who's going to be able to hit behind? Even if you don't get the bunt down, to move runners. Who's going to have the most productive outs versus the NPOs, the non-productive outs, all those little things that win you championships. Getting the lead runner when it's the hardest play to make, you're not afraid, you're not deterred, you're going to get that lead runner at second base out. And then the next blue pit doesn't score that runner because they've been erased, right? So it's all those little things that at this level start to happen. And so I think both these clubs I think the advantage maybe offensively right now goes to Nebraska. I feel like even though there were a ton of home runs and Tennessee is a very good team, I feel like they're not maybe at their offensive peak where maybe Nebraska is.
Ooh, I love that, picking Nebraska. I love it. Well, Michelle, we know you have so much to do, and you probably have only one day to do all of those things before you head back out on the road. So that's it from me. I just want to thank you for jumping on so clutch. Smitty coming in so clutch, jumping on the show and sharing so much knowledge. So thank you for everything. And maybe we'll see you after. I'm going down to Tallahassee, but I think I might drive up to see you on Saturday.
Okay. Well, you let us know, 'cause I'll be there.
Hey, and I'll see you in OKC. We'll grab a glass of wine and chat about everything that we're seeing right now, because good gracious, this sport.
I would look forward to that. There's a lot of great stories out there, and I love what you guys do for our sport and continue to grow it. So thank you for all you do for all the young girls in the sport out there and all the folks that are supporting us. So love it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Michelle Smith. Thanks for coming on, Michelle. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see y'all.
Thanks, Smitty. Awesome.
Oh, you sneaky woman. What a surprise. Good work.
Oh, she's the best. I was like,
she's so fun.
I know.
I love how here's clearly what happened. Tara just texted Michelle. Michelle's sitting there working on Super's prep and is like, sure. And then just turns on the computer.
That's actually probably what happened.
Oh, man. And I didn't sneeze, which is great. My phone is blowing up because we did announce Softball America All-Americans. We can talk about that in just a little bit as well. Also, it turns out that right now is the time that we have to discuss information for the charter to Norman. So that is all happening right now here on Good Morning Softball America. Gray and Tara. Tara, any other regionals specifically you want to highlight before maybe we start to look ahead a bit to the Supers and
why don't we, if you guys have questions in the chat and want us to chat about a regional or a team or all that, why don't you put that in there, and then we can start going through the Supers matchups to preview the weekend. And if there's anything in the chat that we see, we'll pull it up in the middle of that. But obviously we're here for you guys, so whatever you want us to chat about. Obviously there were 16 regionals. Stanford, Oregon was a good one too. That was quite the the late night over there on the West Coast. So,
boy, Stanford just needed a little solid pitching. If only there had been someone who could shut down the Ducks, because actually Stanford's offense played quite well, I thought, this weekend, but their pitching just didn't hold up, and Oregon really kind of blew right through, those Sunday games. The second game got a little hairy because of the way it started, Economita's grand slam in the first inning. But after that, it felt like Oregon was totally in control.
Oh, sorry, I'm just getting my. Yeah, I again, what a gritty performance, I think, by Oregon. At the end of the day, to come back and do it twice. And again, we talked about Stanford's offense this season, and I know it's a what if scenario, and you were just alluding to it, but Nigeri Kennedy with Stanford's new and improved offense that is in the top 10 in nearly every offensive category in the nation would have been so scary.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But I hope Riley McCoy is okay. That was a pretty tough thing to see. We were watching 3 games and saw it, and so we didn't see it happen live, but hope she's okay. I know she had put out a statement on Twitter that she'd be back when it was safe. But again, I can't say enough about the Ducks offense. Paige Sinicki's defense, the Luchar sisters coming up clutch. What a solid win for Oregon. And, we had questions about Oregon and their strength of schedule and whether they had faced tough enough pitching. And this was a former Pac-12 rivalry game on their faces.
Well, I'm just saying, and let me tell you, the questions doubled and tripled in their size when Stanford won 14-1 on Saturday. I was looking around like, whoa, boy, we might have nailed this with Oregon. And then credit to them, they bounced back, they made the adjustments, and they fought like heck.
Yeah, Grimes, Sokolsky, and then Chambers came in. I think
Chambers is the story of Sunday for me.
Yes, absolutely. And again, that's when it's key to make sure that she had 18 innings on the year, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that. And to step into that moment and that big of a situation and deliver, that is so key and going to propel them forward in a super that is going to be just as entertaining with a red hot Liberty squad that is playing free. Their offensive numbers have increased significantly from a year ago, and a team that is playing with just so much confidence. And I think Dot exudes that. How can you not play like that when your head coach has that much energy and that much belief?
So you know what's going to be fun? Guess who gets to spend the entire summer-ish with Dr. Dot?
You?
She's the head coach of the Florida Vibe. I'll be down in the FGCL. She'll be right down the street.
Lucky.
So I'm gonna meet her, and we gonna hang out and have words, and I'll say, "Tell me, Dr. Dot, how did you do this? I want to know. I want to know what was in the secret sauce, because they fought back from heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak in regional finals and got it done. They've got Oregon in the next round. I do have questions about Lindsey Grind. She did not throw all that well in this regional.
Hasn't been either. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a question from Carol Luca 77. Any thoughts on Carolina's region sweep and beating Benning twice? I will open by saying the most emotional moment of the weekend for me was Allison Benning's curtain call. I thought that was beautiful. Yeah. I love the crowd's reaction, even the South Carolina fans. You could tell how much it meant to her. That's why we love this sport. Moments where kids who stayed at their schools maybe put schools on the map, that they get their due. And I haven't seen a curtain call from a mid-major or really from anybody besides, because I know OU fans are going to be like, Olo. But not since Odyssey Alexander have I watched a curtain call and felt that feeling inside. And a lot of credit to Allison Benning for what she did all season with North Florida. But South Carolina just sucked in Elon and North Florida twice into South Carolina Gamecocks softball games. And it was so impressive to watch them just control the pace I feel like they have for the last month and a half.
Yeah, they just took care of business, quite frankly. And in a fashion where it didn't feel like there was ever a question going into the regional. I think we were wondering how they were going to do against Allison Benning, but I do have to give mad props to Katie Browder, the hitting coach at South Carolina. I think she prepares them so well. I know that she watches hours and hours and hours and hours of film, and she gives them a clear plan and allows them to be free. And I think that's a big reason that there's been a ton of success at South Carolina. Ashley Chastain, the head coach there, she had nothing but praise for her in a press conference after the game. So again, took care of business. I think this is going to be a fun matchup between South Carolina and UCLA. How Gress and Hurd and Lamb go after a very powerful UCLA Bruins lineup. Jordan Woolery and Grant both have I think over 80 RBIs on the season and over 20 home runs apiece, more at 24 at this point, I believe. But those two they're gonna have to figure out how they limit the damage with those two, and Savvy Pola having an incredible breakout season. I'm not saying that she didn't have a great season before, but again, that offense is going to be tough to hold down. But again, they have to go on the road. They have to go to Columbia. It's different. The Bruins are used to hosting not only regionals, but playing at home for supers. But again, you have to look back at their schedule in the Big Ten. At this point, they should be used to travel, Gray. They should be like, oh, well, just another week in the Big Ten. We're just gonna travel across the country.
We said it last week with Jordan Woolery, like load up those airline miles. I hope that Vinny and the gang have some things on the iPad to watch, whether it be film or The Sound of Music, because apparently Vinny has not seen that movie, which is crazy. Vinny, if you're here, we're gonna invite you on a pod to talk about The Sound of Music. I think that super. Well, we can talk about it later, like in terms of, or we could break it down now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think UCLA, I think they've been there before. I know they haven't been on the road for a super in a minute, and this is kind of a different thing. This is a new environment, but I think UCLA is going to be fine. I see the fact that they have been there before as a program be very beneficial.
Don't make me send you the link, Vinny. I'll make you jump on here right this second.
I'm going to do it. Hills are alive. How do you solve a problem like Jordan Woolery? I don't know. But if you think walking her, then there's Megan Grant.
And also the Bruins pitching staff, Caitlin Terry and Taylor Tinsley have Women's College World Series experience. And then you've got the young freshman rookie arm and Addison Fisher. Jada Cecil as well can be used. So I think in terms of depth in the circle and experience in the circle, UCLA has the upper hand by far. And I spoke about Katie Browder and her offensive approach. So this is going to be a really fun chess match between the two, and a regional that I was looking at going to as well. But I'll be in Tallahassee to go see Nyjah against the Knowles on Thursday. So ultimately deciding on that. And then maybe up to see Michelle, or maybe over to Columbia.
Look. The chat is alive right now. I don't even know where to go next. I just think that super. It's so hard to just do it all of a sudden, and then you're in OKC. We've talked about this with. Oh, we talked about this with. We might have another guest coming on. She just texted me. Texted us. It's very very hard. Yeah, I just sent it to her. It's very very hard to just do it out of the blue, and I think that UCLA championship pedigree is going to be tough to hold down. I also loved the way that Caitlin Terry was pitching this week, and they just played so clean. It's been a minute, honestly, since UCLA's just breezed through a regional. Regionals are often a little sticky for the Bruins.
Oh, well, believe me, I know. Also, hats off to Joe Evans and the Gauchos. How exciting in her third season to lead them back to the tournament, and Malaya Johnson in the circle. She almost threw almost every inning before getting to UCLA. But what a fun team to watch. Scrappy, beating Arizona State in extras, and then beating San Diego State. I just can't say enough about Jo Evans. She's living her best life on the West Coast in Santa Barbara. For those of you that haven't been to UCSB or to Santa Barbara, it is one of the most beautiful places in the country, right on the beach. If you love surfing, if you love just hanging out, walking around in some rainbows, that's the place to go watch some softball and some softball if you wanted to. But yes, shout out to Jo Evans. When you talk about UCLA and that pedigree grade, there is something about it. There is something about knowing that there are so many women that have worn the jersey before you, that have been in your shoes, that have worked so hard. It almost like there is something to that Bruin magic. And when you put that jersey on and you're playing in the postseason and you have that support from the alumni, you feel it. And there's nothing that can replace that, knowing that many women have been there before you and have laid the groundwork for you to go and do your job as well. So $200 for eggs in Santa Barbara. That's because they have chickens and they just have their own eggs. So nobody goes to the store. They just have their own farms there. Oh, so
hey, I saw this question. I want to pop it up. Did On3 put out a new poll, though? No new top 25 until the season is done. We are it.
All Americans are up to right now. All American awards.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Now I'm like with our guest. I don't know. Should we start a topic and wait on her to get here, or I think is she coming in?
Start. She'll jump. You can send it to her. When she gets here, she gets here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see. So we got about 10 minutes. All right. Everyone's asking the question, so here we go. I'm gonna put it up. Where is it?
I don't even know what this is.
Sarah Newsom, Gray, are you excited to come to Norman? Heck yeah. Let's go. I can't wait. We are leaving tomorrow, and there are logistics that I am going to find out about as soon as we get off this call. But I am very, very excited. I also see the commentary about the weather. I will be prepared.
Where's Fang? Fang's on the weather. Is Fang in here?
Yeah, there was some things in here. There have been some things about.
You need to go get a tour of the National Weather Center.
I'm gonna hit Fang up. We've got a whole plan.
Okay, just making sure.
Oh yeah,
it is the coolest.
Yeah, and just to update everybody, we do go to every Alabama game. So I got a lot of people who were like, "Are you going?" It's like, "Yes, we're at every game. Can't wait to see Loves." I just have as long as I can see the entire field, because we can't see all of them. Cough, cough, Florida. We want internet, and we need to be able to put the GoPro somewhere. So a ledge of some sort.
Balloons.
Some kind of outcropping. And there we go. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. What do you want to say softball-wise about the Tuscaloosa and Norman regionals that we saw ahead of this Super?
Well, before we actually got on here today, I was reading something that Ryan Chapman had put up about the game between or the series between OU and Alabama and Oklahoma's offense, how different it is now from when it was. And being there and actually watching that game 3, the Oklahoma offense looked tentative in that game against Alabama. They were unsure. They weren't hunting. It was a very uncharacteristic showing from the Sooners. So for me, I am very interested to see how the offense has changed and how they attack Riley and Brisky. And because Caitlin Riley threw a gem, so did Brisky after taking that loss.
They were both great that weekend.
The gut punch, and Sam Landry had spun an incredible game 1 and had to come back in. But this is, for me, redemption for OU, and I can't believe I'm saying that because, but it is. Like, I feel like they're gonna be a different team. So, and not playing at Rhodes is going to be very different as well. Playing at Loves, being compared to playing at Rhodes, I think is going to have a huge impact.
I'm excited for it. I think it's also worth pointing out that Alabama is a very different team as well. Marley Giles was not catching that weekend, and Salem Hawkins was in the 8. Like, there have been moves made by both teams, which you expect, even though it was a month ago. Like, a lot has happened since that
Do you
point.
see this? You see
What?
the chat? People want a photo with you in front of the statue. Make it happen.
Maybe.
Oh, if we get 10 super chats in the next 15 minutes, Gray has to take a photo in front of the statue.
What?
We
Why?
have one already. We need 9 more.
Oh man,
this is great. Okay,
I will say 2 things though about this super. One, we talk all the time about the postseason intangible, and to me, 2 of like the 5 programs who personify that best are playing in this super regional. They know how to win in the postseason. They know how to get it done in the clutch. No argument about that. And in OU gear, absolutely not, Brian. You want me to get fired? No. Sorry. I do enjoy my job much more than the $12 from super chats that we're going to get for this challenge. So no. But
more.
I will do it in Alabama clothes or whatever I'm wearing, if that. Dang. Tara, this is rude.
7
okay. Let me make my point, though.
I would love to.
Okay, so these programs have been there before a million times in a super. They know the pressure. It's baked into the DNA. The players on the rosters, not necessarily. You know, for the OU players who are above the line, who I'm going to put on the board a little bit later today, 4 of them have super regional at-bats. Sam Landry has thrown 4 1/3 innings in a super ever. Kirsten Deal, also 4 innings. Brisky has made 1 start. I think she's gone 10 innings in supers. Like, Caitlin Riley's never thrown in a super. Callie Hevelin and Larissa Pruitt are basically kind of the only main Alabama starters. Maybe, Giles for 1 year. They're the only ones who played in a super. So it's going to be interesting to see how all the kids respond, how all the players respond to that pressure, because it is kind of a different pressure playing in a super regional, even though everybody on that field is a part of a program that is used to that type of stage. You know what I mean, Tara?
I do. And Patty even polled the players before they got into the regional and asked how many of them had regional experience, and it was 7.
Yeah.
Regional. So 6 more, everybody, for Gray to take a photo in front of the Patty statue. Just letting you know.
I better get all this cash directly in my pocket. Putting that in my contract.
Venmo, just Venmo it to you as soon as we're done here. But yes, it is going to be. You're right, Gray. I think there's something to that, but I do think advantage OU for numerous reasons and playing in Loves. I think if it was at Rhodes, different story. There's just something crazy about playing at Rhodes, as you all know, because you're there you're there every game. So I think obviously the advantage goes to OU here, but it should be a good series. So that's 2-15, right?
Yeah, it's 2-15. And yeah, just be ready for a fight. I promise you. It's going to be like that. That's how it goes. Alabama-Oklahoma games rarely get sideways historically. So
rarely.
We eagerly anticipate our second random guest who's going to show up in about 3 minutes. Do you want to talk about Florida, Georgia?
Sure. The chat's cracking me up. All this money should go to Gray's burner.
Grant, no. Sit down.
Okay. Yep, let's go.
Okay. So Florida got out of Gainesville relatively easily. Shout out to Mercer and our friend Lindsay Fico. What a job that staff did to get to the regional final.
4 more. 4 more people. Gray has to take a photo in front of the Patty Gasso statue. I believe Sarah and Austin and Fang are going to be in the photo as well, is what I saw.
Wait, when did that happen?
Yeah, it's in the chat. It's up there. I saw it. So if one of you can repost that, I think that was part of it.
What is happening?
One more or two more?
I don't know. I'm
more.
gonna have to do this. Great.
2 more super chats. I think it's 2 because of JD. Oh
we'll see if I'm actually able to do it. I will say that because we're also like where I think
able?
we have. Yeah, we have
to
like
walk through the gates. She's right there.
Not necessarily because we take the bats and the coaches to bat testing, so we'll probably come in some back way. I hope I will have time to see everybody. We'll see.
One more. Oh my gosh. All right.
This is the story of my life, Cheyenne. Gray being voluntold.
You could do it. I could do a challenge next week. Gray is a.
I've already agreed to get slapped by a tortilla at the World Series with Nicole, and now this.
That was beautiful, everybody. Oh gosh, incredible. Thanks, Fang. Thanks, James. Thanks, everybody. Can't wait to get this photo. We'll put it on the pod next week.
Okay, that's right. And we're not. That's it. That's the only place it goes.
We'll be here on the pod next week.
Sure.
Is our guest coming or no? Oh my gosh, statue pic. I love it.
She said 11:53 Central Time.
Oh, she's almost here. Okay, group photo is Gray, Emily, Tyler, Fang, Austin, Tom, and bronze Patricia Marie Gasso. Thanks, Sarah. I got you.
Oh boy.
All right, what are we on here? Let's keep it moving.
I don't even know. What are we talking about? What happened? What has happened in the last 20 minutes?
Let's go to 7 and 10. We spoke a little bit about it with Michelle. Pickens versus Ball in Knoxville. What do you want to see, Gray?
I want to see who in the Nebraska lineup is able to come through behind Jordy Ball against Carlin Pickens, because in my mind, I don't know how Nebraska wins this if they just walk Jordy every time she's at the plate. I've got to see if a Cusack or somebody step up, because if I'm Tennessee, my plan is pitch around Jordy and make the rest of the team beat you. And I'm not 100% sure that they will. So that's kind of the key for me. I think Tennessee will find a way to get 1 or 2. I feel like they always find a way to get 1 or 2. The question is Carlin Pickens able to shut out Nebraska, or do they, draw a couple walks and get the one swing you need sometimes in a super regional? We'll see.
Yeah, for me, I think advantage Tennessee playing in Knoxville, Pickens in the circle, an offense that has been able to get it done. And maybe not huge numbers, but clutch numbers. I've been so impressed with Sophia Nugent, Laura Mueller, Boo Gibson, McKenna Gibson. And I just think that offense has the pieces to take on a Jordy Ball, because Jordy had some starts in the Big Ten that weren't great, Gray. I know postseason Jordy Ball is different, but I agree with you. Is it going to be Samantha Bland that picks up the slack, or an Ava Cusack or Olivia DiNardo? I think that is a huge question. And Tennessee's offense, how they prepare with Craig Snyder, their first-year pitching or hitting coach there, is going to be really, really important. Here she is.
Let's bring her in if I can find her. Okay. You know her as just one of the coolest people in the world. She's on your TV all the time. She's won all the awards from her playing days. She's on all the shows. She's doing all the things. And she's in the car right now. Amanda Scarborough, what's up?
Hi, I'm literally parking right now. It is like a mess of a day today trying to get everything done. But I wanted to hop on here for like a few minutes and say hi.
Oh my goodness, you're the best. Thank you. I know that this is, again, your only day to get things together, but want to get your just initial thoughts. You were in Baton Rouge and they're calling it the vibe, what that was like. And then we'll get into some supers. Obviously, you're heading to Tallahassee, and I'm going to see you there. So I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But Baton Rouge first.
Yeah, Southeastern Louisiana won over a lot of people's hearts. And that was the second year in a row that I had the absolute pleasure to cover them because we had them in Tuscaloosa for their first NCAA tournament appearance the year before. And that team just knows how to fight. Like Rick Freeman wants that team to out hustle everybody that they play, and they do. And so it was just fun to cover them, their heart, their passion, their no back down against like their big sister in the state of LSU. And they just continue to play their game, and LSU defense just couldn't handle it. Honestly, like that was probably my biggest takeaway is not LSU offense, not LSU pitching, but just how LSU's defensive system let them down against a team that had speed and put the ball in play. And then besides them, I mean, thrilled to watch Nebraska play this weekend and see Jordy pitch because I just feel like you're like hidden in the Big Ten for so long. You don't get to see her as much, and to get to see her in person, competing, like she's pitching exactly the same as what she looked like in OU, maybe even better because she's 2 years removed, and like just the way that she recovered from her ACL injury. I mean, we're looking at a top 3 finalist for National Player of the Year who tore her ACL last year. And so she's this new player with the way that she's hitting, she's pitching the same, like just really dominated games. And it was just fun to watch her compete. And she loves playing for that team. Like so many of those girls on the Nebraska team, it was their dream to play for Nebraska. And they just have so much fun together. Like truly like just loving wearing Nebraska on their uniform. You can tell.
What was the biggest takeaway from the LSU of it all? I know you said it looked like their defense wasn't ready for Southeastern. That was a major sticking point to me, the decision making. But like, it's a shock anytime a seed is out on a Saturday night.
I just didn't feel like they were having fun playing the game. They felt the pressure. They were playing not to lose, and they weren't playing to win. And uh, they just couldn't get that big hit, like they just couldn't get the big hit to break through that. Because I just feel like in the postseason, there's usually these turning points in a game where it's like that turning point where a team takes over, grabs the momentum back. And it just never felt like LSU ever did that. I mean, in that last game that they played on Saturday night, they never had the lead one time. So, they were constantly playing from behind. So that was my biggest takeaway is just like, they just didn't seem like they were having a lot of fun playing the game like I'd seen them do at other points in the year. And Southeastern was very comfortable playing them, and that showed.
Last one for me, Amanda, going to Tallahassee, Nyjah versus Florida State. For you, I know in your preparation, you do so much work prepping for teams and analyzing pitchers and hitters and all that. What are you most looking forward to?
I think I'm most looking forward to seeing FSU's offense, who's usually so prepared and like comes up with some of the best game planning in our game, hit against Nyjah. I think that that's what it's going to come down to. Although Texas Tech's offense has been scoring a lot of runs lately, I feel like in the past few weeks, like since the Big 12 tournament, maybe the series before that, their offense is kind of turning it on. But FSU offense with their coaching staff, like they always come up with such great game plans. And so when you're going up against arguably the best pitcher in our game right now, like I can't wait to see their game plan put into action. They actually hit off of her the last time that they faced was the ESPN Clearwater tournament in February of 2024, and FSU won that game. I think scored 4 or 5 runs off of her. I think only one maybe was earned, but they had played Stanford and they saw her. So that experience is really going to come in handy to be able to face her this weekend.
All right, we know you've got to go to a meeting, so we'll let you go now. But Amanda Scarborough, good to see you.
Bye, guys. Yay! Love you guys.
Bye. You. Oh.
We'll be texting. Don't worry. See you, Amanda.
Oh, my goodness. Amazing.
Welcome to Good Morning Softball America, where legends of the game, on field and screen, can randomly appear.
So great. So clutch, both of them. So clutch. But I love her insight too, and really highlighting the LSU defense. I agree with her on that, and obviously something that wasn't talked about a lot. And I'm excited to see her and Kevin on the call down in Tallahassee. I'm going to be making that drive.
It's in the contract. Like every Amanda game this year, there's been one walk-off at like every series. So I don't know which game it's going to be. but one of them is going to be a walk-off.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin is always a great time. Jackie wanted us to talk about Florida, Georgia, and I agree because we kind of got sidetracked when I was dared to do something for money. So Florida, Georgia in a super. Florida, no issues in Gainesville. Mercer, a great story to get to the regional final. Georgia, what fight they showed against Duke. It looked for all the world in that if game like Duke was going to take it twice, move on to super regionals, and then Georgia, has it feeling like 2021? Has it feeling like 2016? Trying to generate those vibes once again as they go to Gainesville this weekend.
Yeah, and Georgia didn't drop a game, so didn't get swept in the SEC. And you almost get the feeling, Gray, and I don't know if you watched the entire regional this week, and you almost get the feeling like they're playing like they got nothing to lose.
Yep.
And Randy Rowland toeing the rubber with her attitude in the circle, I was like, oh, like this is a different Georgia team than I watched in SEC conference play. The offense started to get going. I was impressed with Lindy Ray Davis coming up clutch with a few big hits. Obviously, Jaden Goodwin, who's been good all season long. Dallas Goodnight in the leadoff. And the offensive numbers are very different for Georgia than a year ago. They lost to Jada Kearney. They lost to Sarah Mosley. So those power numbers, those home run numbers are not up as they were a year ago, but they're getting it done in a different manner. So they're manufacturing runs. And once they are announced in that Duke regional, I thought to myself, ooh, Georgia could get out of this thing. And so I wasn't surprised. I don't know.
I want to show this because I think this is a great comment. Jordan says, I don't know why I can't read. Curd gave it all she had in that game. I couldn't agree more. That was the best I had seen Cassidy Curd pitch in weeks. And she was pretty clutch. And then it faltered at the end. But I thought she pitched her butt off in that Sunday situation. Just Georgia found a way. You're exactly honestly, again, it feels like 2021. It feels like the kids are just sitting there going, let's just play and who knows what'll happen. And that freedom is what got Georgia to a World Series 4 years ago. They're trying to do it again this year.
Absolutely. And that's a dangerous team to have to face and very familiar with one another. But then on the flip side, you look at a Florida team that people have had to step up at different times, pitchers for Florida. So having to carry the load, whether it be Caitlin Oxley or Kara Hammock, or now Keegan is back healthy and able, and Ava Brown. Again, so you've got 4 pitchers that have had to step in and really be the ace at one point, you could say almost, Gray, maybe not Hammock as much, but again, a pitching staff that has been through it all, and they've been through their ups and downs. And an offense that when this Florida offense is going, they are up there with OU and Texas in terms of how well they can get runners on base. Kendra Falby. I'm waiting for another Kendra Falby robbery out in center. Would love to see that as well. So this is going to be a good one. But if Florida's pitching can stay the course, I think Florida gets I don't know if it goes to game 3. I think Florida might win those first 2.
Well, the thing that stuck out to me on the Out of the Box podcast, which tuned in this week, released this morning, Florida is hitting nearly 100 points worse against lefties than righties this year. So something to watch. Stat. Something to monitor because Georgia is going to throw lefties.
Really?
on lefties.
All day
if a righty's in the circle, things are going either really, really well or horribly wrong for Georgia.
Yeah, and the Florida lineup, I know Tim's been moving that Florida lineup around. Coriolis has now dropped as well. Mia Williams has moved up, who's leading the team right there with Taylor Shoemaker in home runs. But again, you're right. That lefty-lefty matchup is going to be crucial there.
Yeah. Another SEC versus SEC Super. Let's talk about Arkansas and Ole Miss. Arkansas gets out of Fayetteville. Ole Miss gets out of Tucson, which very impressive. I was quite taken by how the Rebels were swinging it. We saw a little something in Athens, and we even said this last week. This felt like the most juice Ole Miss has had going into the postseason since Jamie Traxel got there. And they just kept it up. They kept it alive. And Brie Lopez wasn't even all that spectacular in the regional, but it didn't matter because of how good the offense was.
Absolutely. And again, when we spoke to Jamie Traxel at the SEC tournament, she's just so impressed with the youth on that team. And again, it is a pretty much brand new team and staff, right? Aaron Earlywine, who's formerly at Mizzou, gets on the staff and really manages the hitters. And then Nancy Evans going back to Arizona and beating Arizona in Tucson. That was a storyline in itself, but a gritty team. We've seen them get it done. The freshman in Percy Yamas, I'm so impressed with her. And then how about Ashton Lansdale's
the double play?
The double play with the foot on the bag. And then she made another play. And she basically had gone in there after Aaliyah Binford was there most of the season. So she just took over that third base position. So could be another potential, but I think Arkansas, I think Ole Miss is going to have trouble with Arkansas's pitching in Robin Heron and Peyton Burnham. But again, we'll see it this weekend.
They didn't in the season opening series. Those were three games that were not remotely close. It was 20-3, 9-1, and 9-3, and that was 3 months ago. So
yes, that was going to be my next point.
I would be shocked if we saw any games that are as lopsided as those three this weekend.
I remember being on this podcast and you're like, oh, then they beat them, 20-3, whatever it was on that Sunday game.
Beat them by 17.
Yeah. Very different team, Arkansas, from the beginning to what they're doing now. And I saw a clip of Courtney Deifel speaking to them after their win, just talking about their belief and talking about getting it done and how they grew up in just that one game against Oklahoma State. And I think you're seeing the makings of a team going through adversity and really figuring out how to win ball games. And that's really special and something that's really nice to see from the Razorbacks.
Really, the last place we need to spend any time before we talk about All-Americans and then say goodbye is the 6-11 situation. Texas gets out of Austin, really with no problem. Destroyed Michigan pitching on Saturday, kind of squeezed out UCF on Sunday. Clemson faced a little bit more drama in the Clemson regional that I think a lot of us decided, or I guess figured that they would, but Tigers went undefeated there as well. So this sets up the seeded matchup in Austin between the Tigers and the Longhorns.
I think the Longhorns went through a bit of a gut check after the SEC tournament. And again, last week we were wondering how they were going to respond. And Reese Atwood, Katie Stewart, Jolie Mitchell. At one point, I thought they're going to break 10 different windows in the complex out in left field because that was a response that warranted what happened to them a week prior. And you just don't know which way a team's going to go. And for Texas to start playing in this manner, this is what we were expecting from them, I think, Gray, all season long. This is going to be tough for Clemson, a young Clemson squad. If they don't make it too big, if they don't make it too bigger than it is, I think it will be a lot easier. But again, it is a young team. And if they play free and do all the right things, that will help. But if Texas plays the way they did last weekend, I think this is probably 2 for Texas and out.
It's hard to beat Texas when they're on.
Yes.
Very much so. Let alone beat them twice. So any other big stories that you want to touch on before we go over a couple of the Softball America All-Americans? And again, it's all available on the website and online right now, but I did want to make sure that we shouted them out. But before that, any teams, any stories, any players that maybe we haven't covered that you want to say hello to?
No, I think we're good. I mean, obviously, you guys can jump in the chat if we've missed anything. I know you're going to tell us. So you can just let us know. But let's head on over to our awards and our All-Americans so we can get those going.
I've got one. I got one I want to shout out. Maya McDonald at Marist. Every time I turned on a game that the Red Foxes were playing in, I felt like she was hitting a home run. Good, like shout out to her. Way to take advantage of the stage. So
how
Maya
about
McDonald.
Coastal Carolina? Huge fan. That was, and up against was it Duke at one point? I'm starting to put my brain together.
Had a chance to walk off Duke in the 7th.
I know. I just was so impressed with Kelly Green's squad this year, and was really just a team that I enjoyed covering and enjoyed watching. So shout out to Coastal.
Another one, Malaya Johnson at UC Santa Barbara, who threw like every pitch for a 24-hour period.
Yes.
Like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was counting, I think, her pitches at one point. I think she was over like 300.
Seeing if I missed anybody else that I specifically wanted to highlight.
I got my 16 regional notes right here too.
Yeah, I'm sure more people will pop up that we can talk about at some point. So let's talk about All-Americans. Or go ahead, what you got?
I was just saying, how about Corey Hicks walk-off for OU? I was impressed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Minnick.
She was great.
USF. What a season for the Bulls.
Josie Foreman was unstoppable.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Brady?
Where is he in here?
He said KK Madry. FTCL. Headache for Liberty. Yes. A&M was in knots.
I was like, who's on the account?
Who's tweeting us? We're both here.
I have to go, you guys. I was like, we don't get our security issues.
Yeah, the Ella Parker home run was awesome. We're trying to. I really want to hit up like a lot of the kids on teams that we didn't really get a chance to talk about, because Ella Parker gets press, y'all, and the home run was absolutely sick nasty. But there are also, what's great about regionals.
She hit it over the stadium.
Oh, it was out. Like my comment to Tom was, well, I know where we're not parking this week. How
many? Do we know how many feet it was?
I think it was 285. I think that we shouted out earlier, Cheyenne, but Rachel Roop.
Absolutely.
What I love about regionals,
her cannon. Also, not only the bat, just cannon in right field. Legit. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, what I love about regionals is this is where, like you said earlier on 7 Innings Live, this is where we learn and we hear the stories about a lot of players who we don't get to see very much because of lack of major linear television coverage, or sometimes they're just hard to find, period. Brooklyn Morris at Jackson State was a really, really impressive young lady to me this weekend of a Tuscaloosa regional. And I just want to make sure that we shouted out some of those folks, because they had to fight a lot. And, at St. Francis, one more shout out. They're done in D1. They're moving to D3, but wanted to give them a little love for making the NCAA tournament and their final opportunity.
I'm trying to see if I have any more in my notes here.
Yeah, we talked about
Santa Clara, the Broncos, making it to the Tucson regional.
Trying to see if I missed any others. Maddie Agroff threw pretty well again this weekend for Omaha. So, and Mercer as well. Like, again, we talked about De Beers earlier today. Love that staff, love that team. Great story getting to the regional final. Southeastern as well. Great story getting to the regional final. Cool. Brady's out here dropping the story.
Yes, so we actually tried to get him on the podcast today, but he was busy. Todd. Long time at Liberty SID, has been there, since the 90s. And his dad was the first softball coach. So that's who we tried to get on the podcast. Maybe we can get him on here. Should Liberty. get the job done.
Works for me.
Okay.
All right, All-Americans?
All-Americans. Oh, we don't have the graphic, do we? Dang.
No, we don't.
Guys.
But I can read
bad.
them.
Yeah,
anyone want to guess?
Here, I'm gonna put the. Let me just put it in the chat for everybody. Keep going, Gray.
All right, so anyone want to take a guess on who won Player of the Year for the Softball America staff? It was a tight vote of unanimous. We all picked the same person. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word.
Unanimous?
I was going to say unanimity, but I sometimes I got over my skis. It's Bree Ellis is who we picked for Player of the Year. Pitcher of the Year.
There it is, in the chat.
Pitcher of the Year was a heavy discussion. We had basically two names that were being debated, and it went to Carlin Pickens from Tennessee. Nyjah, obviously, in the mix as well. Those were kind of the two options. And then Freshman of the Year was Taylor Shoemaker from Florida, Most Improved Player, Lindsey Grine, Oregon, and the Coaching Staff of the Year, Ohio State.
Yep. I also think Tori Edwards is up there for Freshman of the Year, and then Coaching Staff of the Year, South Carolina was pretty close too. So
it was a dead heat for a lot of these, actually.
Yeah.
And then the All-American list, I don't want to read everybody, but there are a couple folks on here that I think would be fun to specifically shout out, Tara.
Sure.
Kat Rodriguez, first team All-American at North Carolina, frequent guest of the pod.
Yes.
Love that for her. And shout out to a kid who has done such a great job getting better each and every year. That's what you love to see when you cover a team and a sport, players who get better each and every year and have their best year as a senior. So Kat Rodriguez, wanted to show her a little love here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And her hitting the heaters videos that she sent over to me were absolutely classic. It was so cool to see them in the batting cage hitting the heaters little segment there. But yeah, shout out to Kat Rodriguez.
Elijah asking about the Liberty coaching staff. We voted on this a week ago. This was pre-regionals. Yeah. This is a regular season award, just like the NFCA, All-Americans, just like every All-American list as it's designed, unless somebody is doing it different, is supposed to be. It's based on what you do in the regular season. So there you go.
So just we do it on the regular season, not on the postseason. Doesn't take that into account. Great.
I'm still reading. Lots of
the
things.
All-Americans list is on there. I put the link in the chat. So they're all up there. Head on over to the site. Take a look at it.
Any others that you really wanted to shout out, Tara, before we go?
I think we covered a lot. My voice is, I can't believe I still have my voice. It's time for me to have some more tea.
Yeah, I got to start packing.
Alrighty.
A lot of people wondering about Gabby Garcia. I'm not quite sure why. Second team All-American and freshman All-American. So right there, all is well. Yeah, I'm good. You good?
I'm great. Is everybody good in the chat? I feel like you are. Ish.
I feel like everyone in the chat is doing their own thing right now. And we're actually intruding upon them.
It's gotten to the point in our show where they no longer are talking to us. They are talking to each other, which I actually love. That means they have their own little community in the chat.
Yeah, that works.
Oh yeah, Gray's going to be photo in front of the statue, everybody. Nice job. We did it. Yep.
Hey, honest, I see all the people. It should be first team. Issa Torres is first team.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
Can't do that. It's okay.
It's all good.
Roach wants more podcasts.
Wait, where'd it go? This one. I'm not good because I want more podcasts.
Yeah. Miles knows when it's like the hour mark, and I feel like he's been extra good for the last 20 minutes because we've been on for an hour. Well, hour 15.
Yeah. All right. Last thing, and then we'll go, Mark. Give me one, Tara, one bold prediction for this weekend. One
bold prediction.
Something a little off the cuff.
Ole Miss takes the series.
Ooh. Tara.
You asked me for bold. That's
did.
the only bold thing I think that I could say on there. Is there another bold thing?
No, there are others. I mean, it just depends. It just depends on your evaluation of bold. I like that. I'm not going to pick anything related to the super I'm going to. I am not an idiot. I am not giving Oklahoma bulletin board material. So
time out. I don't think Oklahoma uses bulletin board material.
I when I say Oklahoma, I mean the entire entity that includes the fans.
Okay.
So I'm not doing it. I refuse.
There's no external motivation happening.
No.
In the OU locker room.
There's plenty on Twitter.
Take care of themselves.
There is plenty on Twitter, and I'm not giving them anything. So instead, I'm going to spin it out and say right now that we have 6 supers go to 3 games. 6 supers go to 3 games.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
I don't know how bold that is.
It kind of is. That's a lot of softball.
I was just trying to make a splash. I guess it didn't hit. Maybe it did.
Oh my gosh. Should I comment on the last one about like how travel logistics work or no? I won't. It's fine.
Ooh, somebody says FSU winning in 2. That is kind of bold.
Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah, my burner said that.
I see it.
Grant.
Oh man, having a grand time over there. All right, everybody.
I'm good.
It's been real.
It has. This has been organized chaos in many ways today.
Maybe we can do this on Thursday or Friday. I don't know what your schedule's like, Gray.
I don't know either. I have yet to receive an itinerary. All I know is I'm on the plane.
Okay.
So that's good.
That's good.
Oh, Beck. We can only dream and pray. Bold prediction: there will be no weather delays.
That is a very bold prediction. That's
from your chat to God's ears.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. They've got some bold predictions in there.
What, Mark saying UCLA going to get swept?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are some. I almost want to let y'all cook, but I also have work to do. I need to laundry.
I need to have lunch. So, but hopefully, what I was trying to say is maybe we can get back here on Thursday or Friday. I will be in Tallahassee Thursday and Friday for FSU Tech, and supposed to be driving back up to then go to Knoxville. It all depends on how that series goes, but I will for sure be down in Tallahassee on Thursday for Florida State, Texas Tech, Thursday and Friday. And then I'll let you guys know where I'm going to be Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll check the itinerary. We'll see if we have an opportunity to, even if it's not live on here, maybe we do like a Twitter space or something. I don't know. We'll try and do our best. It'll be good. And it all starts Thursday. Amanda and Kevin, the dream team, kicking it off. And then
start Thursday. Go.
Thursday. And then, after that, I believe it's Pam and JDH and Clemson, Texas. That's starting. And then Friday, we're off and running, baby. Let's go. Supers.
Yeah, I can't believe we're already here. How exciting.
The best. I love this sport. And I love watching it.
And then we'll be in Oklahoma City. We'll keep you guys, stay tuned for that, because there is something very cool in the works that I can't quite share yet. Gray doesn't even know about it, just like Gray didn't know about our guest joining this morning. But we will let you know maybe on our pop-up podcast Thursday or Friday if it comes to fruition. Was that green paper?
Oh yeah,
Cool.
I use cardstock to track regionals every year. So when we have them up and then do, scoreboard updates, I write in all the results as they happen.
I'm gonna have to.
I accidentally typoed in
use that
Knoxville.
trick. I see that whiteout. I love it. Awesome. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for your participation as well. It's always great that you guys jump in and have loads of comments and questions.
Yes, we do appreciate all of you.
Even if you're not talking to us.
Yes. Oh boy. All right. Shall we go? Probably.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, I'm sorry that we've ended the show 8 times and haven't actually left. But we will have more this week. We'll have more at the World Series. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Michelle and Amanda, for popping in for even just a brief moment and saying hello and helping us break down the regionals and super regionals that they called. For Tara Henry, I'm Gray Robertson. I think we're good. Goodbye. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Softball America. What a